Welcome to this week's video. Today we're looking at a very important subject in yoga, and that's our pelvic floor muscles. So our pelvic floor muscles, known as the base or root chakra in yoga, is vital for all our movements. And it amazes me how many students that I see each week that either don't know where the pelvic floor muscles are, don't know how to activate them, and also don't know how to release them. So tight, restricted, weak pelvic floor muscles cause problems in the back, cause problems all the way escalating up towards the neck. It can create problems in the hips. It can create problems for health, for incontinence, for example, prolapse. And there's a lot of important health energy benefits from having a fully activated pelvic floor muscle. So when I say activated, I don't mean tight, I mean aware, the energy can flow. So we have two things with the pelvic floor. First, we need to be able to know how to locate it and therefore create strength. But also, once we know where the location is, we need to be able to relax. So the two things are really, really important. So there's an article about the pelvic floor. It's not just for women, so it's just as important for men, which is accompanying this video and our series on pelvic floor. So if you haven't read the article, please pause the video now. Have a look at what I've written. It gives you an idea visually. You can see from the photographs where the pelvic floor is located. So from there we can understand it's a hammock of muscles that starts from the lower abdominals and follows all the way through the pelvis to the anus. And it's really important that you understand the area and how we activate, and we activate by drawing the muscles up. So it's not where we tighten and the lower back gets tight and the stomach gets tight. What we're doing is drawing the muscles up. And it's those muscles that you use if you're dying to go for a wee and you hold your wee. That is where those muscles are. So you can test it by stopping your urine flow halfway through having a wee, and you will know those are the muscles that you're using. So be aware of where they are. Visualize and let's start to activate. And anyone that's been in my classes or workshops or retreats will know that I talk all about the activation of pelvic floor muscle in our breath, our natural breath. Now remember, this breath is not something new. This is what we were born, this is how we were born to breathe. So when we inhale, we expand the stomach. And that allows the release of the pelvic floor muscles and activates the diaphragm, gives it room to draw the vacuum of the oxygen into the body. But when we exhale, we gently lift up through the pelvic floor muscles, a slight activation in the lower abdominal muscles, and then that creates that full release. So we get rid of all the carbon dioxide from the base of the lungs. So we get this lovely natural breath. So that's what we're going to do first of all. We're going to bring that awareness in. So finding your comfortable position. So I'm using, as always, my foam block just to create a little bit more freedom in my hips. So especially if it's a cold morning like it is here in France. My body's quite tight, a little bit restricted, early morning, and someone wants something to lift the hips up a little bit, allow some ease of movement into my back, so I'm not worried about getting any tension in that area. I'm going to find a comfortable position, checking into these shoulders. So making sure that the shoulders are not up around the ears, but up and back and relaxing down. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a few rounds of breath, just natural, as though you would do normally, and bring our awareness into the spine at the same time. This nice, activated but relaxed line of energy from tailbone to crown. Relax the shoulders. Let's relax the face, bring a smile, nice deep inhale. So let's start that cycle. So as we breathe in, what we want to do is expand the stomach, breathing in, expand the stomach, the pelvic floor muscles relax. Breathing out, gently draw the pelvic floor muscles up and exhale. And again. Let's do 4 more. Expand on the inhale. Lift up on the exhale. Expand on the inhale. Lift up on the exhale. Let's have a couple more. Now, for some people, that might be quite difficult to get that concept. So again, what I would suggest is pause the video and just practice that breath over the next few days. Remember, we want to find expansion to release the pelvic floor muscles, allow the diaphragm to expand, drawing the oxygen in. And on the exhale, we draw up. So we're not tightening, we're just lifting up on the pelvic floor muscles and allowing the full exhale. So just keep practicing that. And now we're going to start working on how we can start bringing more awareness to the pelvic floor muscles. And one of the best exercises is ground down into that area. So in yoga, we've always got a foundation, a point that's touching down into the ground, and it can be a primary or a secondary. So here, obviously, our primary foundation is where we're sitting, and we're sitting on our sit bones, and between the sit bones are our pelvic floor muscles. So if we're sitting up nice and tall, again, not rigid, but a softness, shoulders relaxed, just allowing the spine to come into its natural full range of movement, using the muscles, not allowing us to scrunch down. We're going to be sitting on our pelvic floor muscles. So I want us just gently, again, to feel that as we draw up and down. And we're going to do that for, again, a few breaths, just finding a little bit more height. So you're clenching the muscles around the bottom, grounding into those sit bones, and it feels like you're drawing the sit bones in together. So it's not, you can't see very much in the video, but what I want us to do is I want you to feel, so this is where it's really nice if you're sitting on a foam block or cushion. You draw the sit bones in together and lifting up through the body. So only a small movement. You can see me lifting up slightly maybe into the video and relaxing down. So you feel the glute muscles around the bottom tightening, drawing the sit bones in and relaxing down. Let's do that. Think about this concept of drawing in and up, not just a tightening. It's an action where we feel we're lifting, and it might be only a few millimeters lifting up. And let's do that. Again, we'll do it with our closed eyes because it gives us more ability to really feel into the body, shut off that external sense. So let's close our eyes. Let's do it for about 8 times. So we're going to breathe in and expand, and then as we exhale, drawing up. So let's settle the breath. Nice deep inhale and drawing up. Now on the inhale, relax the bottom, relax the legs, relax the stomach, relax the pelvic floor muscles. And exhale. Remember, expand the stomach, soften the pelvic floor muscles, soften the legs, and again. And a nice inhale. And again. And inhale and relax. And exhale. Let's have 2 more. Inhale, relax. And exhale. And relax. Again, if you found that difficult, stop the video and then just practice that a little bit more and then come back to the next exercise. Because it's quite difficult in yoga. What we do is we tend to go into an energy, into a posture which creates action. That's where we tend to draw the breath in. And then when we're relaxing, we tend to exhale. So in many ways, we're doing the opposite thing here because we're drawing the energy up on the exhale. But it's a really effective posture. And it also gets that inhale of relaxing, finding that expansion down into the pelvic floor, and the exhale where we draw up. So keep practicing that. And as I say, if you find it difficult, you've got all week to carry on and keep using this posture of inhale and exhale. The next thing we want to do is extending on that concept, and we want 2 blocks. And I'm going to move my block out the way, my phone block out the way. We've got 2 blocks either side here. Now, if you haven't got blocks, then make sure you've got 2 thick books the same height. And what we're going to do is exactly the same, but on the drawing up, we're going to actually lift our bottom off the mat and hold the posture. But the next part is that when we're holding the posture, we're not going to hold our breath. So we're going to engage the lower abdominal muscles and the pelvic floor as we lift them up, and that's what's bringing our bottom up. But we need to keep the top part of the abdominal muscles relaxed so we can breathe. So again, it's one of these postures that take a while to get used to. I'll explain it, we'll do it, and then pause and practice. Okay, so we've got our blocks either side. I've got them either side of my hips. Let me come to the side so you can see the positioning. So the block is about here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the posture, I'm going to do a few rounds, and then I'm going to turn round backwards so you can see my bottom lifting up. So let's try first of all from the front. We've got our hands on the block, so we're going to inhale, soft, and exhale, lifting the bottom off. So you can see my feet are still lightly placed, but my bottom is up, engaging and lifting from the lower abdominals, not the upper and pelvic floor. And keep breathing. Let's have 2 breaths. Keep engaging the pelvic floor muscles. And relaxing down. Okay, let's do that one more time. If you find that strong in the wrist, just pause, give a few rounds slowly, and then back in again. And let's breathe in and lift on the exhale. Keep the pelvic floor muscles engaged. Lower abs, not the middle or upper. So we're lifting up from the pelvic floor. Breathing. And one more nice deep breath. Keep the pelvic floor muscles engaged. And releasing down. So now I'm going to turn round so you can see from behind the lifting of my bottom off the mat so you can really see the position. So we're going to breathe in, nice soft belly, and breathe out, lifting up. Keeping the pelvic floor muscles activated, the lower abdominal muscles activated. Keep the stomach nice and soft. Let's have one more breath. Keep them activated, drawing up, and then release down. And then the last posture we're going to do is we're going to get hold of our block, and we're going to have it lengthways, this direction here, and we're going to come down onto our backs. So make sure you've got a nice comfortable position. I'm going to use my blanket there to relax my head, bring the body down. So remember a lengthways here. And then what we're going to do is bring our hands to the side, just as an anchor position, relax the shoulders. And I want you to squeeze the blocks together, drawing in the inner thighs, and see if you could draw that all the way up into the lower abs, into the pelvic floor, and just a gentle pelvic tilt. So we can still have a softness around our belly, we can still breathe, but we're keeping those pelvic floor muscles contracted, drawing up, creating a slight pelvic tilt, lower back firmly planted, and then release. Make sure you do release. Now, if you're having difficult feeling that squeeze and release, what I would suggest between each of those movements, take the block out, cross your ankles over, and then bring your feet down to the side and take a few rounds of breath. As you do that, notice my lower back comes off the floor, and that's perfect. and just let the legs flop out to the side. But if you find that too strong, then pop your legs on top of the block there so it supports. So we're going to do 3 of these. So let's work. Legs the block into the centre. And here we're going to squeeze the block, feeling that all the way into the thighs, into the pelvic floor as we draw the lower back onto the mat, lower abdominal muscles. Keep this area soft. Make sure it's coming from the pelvic floor muscles, drawing up. So as we squeeze in, don't let go of that intensity. We're using the inner thighs and we can draw a little bit further up into the pelvic floor and lower abs. And release. Now for the next 2, we're coming for a smaller position. So the block's in this position. So we get a slight different drawing, and we're doing exactly the same. Nice deep inhale as we squeeze. Let's draw the pelvic floor muscles in and up. You're feeling that you've got your lower abs activated, but you can still breathe. This diaphragm has still got the movement. Keeping it squeezed and release. And then for the last one, we're going to have our feet on the mat. And we'll do one more. Squeeze, drawing in, tilting the pelvis, drawing the lower abdominals up. Breathing. One more. Squeeze up. And let's relax. And then here what I'd like you to do is get 2 cushions or 2 blocks. I'm going to pop my bottom back onto the foam block to create that lift and ease. And then I want us to have these 2 blocks here, either side, so there's no tension here whatsoever. So if you've got tight hips and knees, and tight quadriceps, your knees might be up here. So make sure you've got lots of cushions and padding to make sure that nothing is being used here. That can just flop down. And then we're going to sit in a comfortable position and just do 4 rounds of our natural breath to complete our practice today. Remember, expanding into the stomach as we inhale. And a slight activation. This is really important. It's a soft activation and a curling in of the lower abs on the exhale. Nice deep inhales. Soften the pelvic floor, relax. Exhale, slight activation. 2 more. Last one. And then open our eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Now I'd like you to practice that as many times as you can until you really feel that you're understanding this concept of lifting up rather than this contraction. So certainly when we were doing the squeezing of the block, it's a much more contracting feeling in the body. Really important then to let go. Now if you're feeling that you can't find the difference, you get to the point where you can't find the difference between the activation and the release, then that's time to stop and relax. Do a little bit of breathing, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of shavasana, just relax and then come back to it the next day. So it's like any muscle, we've got to work it gently but consistently. Namaste.